Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 522, we're going to talk about Kirik, the son of Yawgmoth, and how we just can't wait to spend 7 mana on a 2-2. I didn't know Yawgmoth had a son before this card existed, and I was like, wow. So, Kirik, son of Yawgmoth. We have 4 colorless and 3 Phyrexian black. Of course, as we know, we can spend 2 life instead of a Phyrexian black. Now, 2/2 lifelink, horror minion, but that doesn't really matter for what we're doing today. And for each black mana symbol in a cost, you may pay 2 life rather than pay that mana. So Kirik sees all black mana as Phyrexian black. That's pretty sweet. And whenever you cast a black spell, you get +1/+1. Now, I skipped the lifelink part. That's important. Lifelink on Kirik matters. Because we get into, or I do, I get into a situation where I'm not exactly responsible enough to be playing with cards like this. So, with that in mind, there are 2 cards that I just couldn't absolutely do without. I tried to actually build Kirik how we're supposed to build it, you know. The 2 cards I couldn't do without. Bolas's Citadel. I mean, it's so good. It is just so good. Most of the time people forget about that last line there. Each opponent loses 10 life. Each. That's the big thing. But playing cards for the free, yeah, you're paying life. But it's really good. And then the other card, of course, Vilis. Whenever you lose life, draw that many cards. So those 3 cards you can churn through a deck pretty quick. So I knew I was going to play those 2, and I was like, well, where do I kind of go from there? And back in the old days, we had in Urza Block, the power of Scourge Familiar was really, really present. Being able to choose and discard a card to get a black mana just allowed you to, especially if you've got Vilis filling your hand up every time you pay life, really, really a big thing. Tendrils of Agony is kind of one of my only just outright win the game cards. There are a lot of, with just the cards we've already seen, you can churn through your entire deck, play a bunch of spells, and get a pretty insane storm count. But there are some things that, there's some inherent problems with what we've got going so far, and that's we're paying a ton of life. So, with that in mind, let's look at some life gaining. Before we, okay, yeah, I've got to do this. The Cauldron Familiar, I love this cute little combo. And it's not just for the cat, you know. Yeah, it enters the battlefield, everybody loses when you gain 1. That's a little bit. Sack of food to get it back from your yard. And then, of course, you throw it into the oven. Standard decks, Pioneer decks, everybody's been doing this ever since Eldraine came out. I don't know. It's cute. I like it. And it works kind of with the theme. And they're both 1-drops, you know? So let's look at some life gain, shall we? Start off. Because we're playing a lot of black spells. Don't laugh at the Demon's Horn, I know. But I tried to minimize... Well, no, I say that. There's a lot of... Okay. We're going to be paying some life for our black spells, obviously. So if we can just, gain a life when we cast a black spell, I am down with it. So we've got the Demon's Horn, Staff of the Death Magus. That's also triggers when Swamp comes in. Diamond Mare. Vincer's Journal's going to gain us a little bit of life. Vampire Nighthawk's going to. Tendrils of Corruption is good removal and life gain. Gray Merchant of Asphodel. I mean, you know, playing with him before he got his promotion. He's uncommon now. But then, Pontiff of Blight, Ballista Screecher, and Thrall Parasite are all in there for the same reason. Is they are all extort. I mean, and that extort, you know, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain that much. So every time you cast a spell, and by the way, you can pay black mana to play extort, and if you've got a table full of folks, you're paying 2 life for that extort black, and then gaining, you know, 1 for however many opponents you've got. So, now we have looked at some things so far that are a little bit on the expensive side as far as mana wise. So let's look at, oh man, this is a bunch of, because Carrick itself is, if you want to play just the straight out, you know, I mean, on turn 4 and pay the 6 life with Carrick, that's cool. You can do that, but we got to get there, you know, and we kind of want to get there pretty quick. So, here are our mana. Of course, we're playing a Dark Ritual, because why not? This is, I mean, is this not the most Dark Ritual deck there is? A Mox Diamond, Soul Ring, Jet Medallion, try to get those costs down, you know. A Wayfarer's Bauble. By the way, this one was, as you can see, was donated by Derek. Yes, I do appreciate it, Derek. Thank you very much. He sent in some tribal Kamigawa cards that we're going to see in future decks, along with the Wayfarer's Bauble. But this just allows you to get rolling on turn 1 with swamp fetching, you know. Walking Atlas, of course, is going to put more swamps into play. Mind Stone, Prismatic Lens, Mana Prism, Heraldic Banner, Pristine Talisman. Pristine Talisman does double work here by gaining us a life. Bontu's Monument. Yeah, it buys down only your black creatures, but whenever you cast a creature spell, doesn't matter what kind. I have actually been thinking about running just a monument deck with like all 5 monuments in it, because they all just trigger on when you cast a creature. And there's no color identity here, so like, I don't know, maybe play all 5 of them in a green creature deck or something. I don't know. Reign of Filth just lets us, sorry, I hit the table there. For that 1 powerhouse storm turn, that's what this is for. I mean, your lands pretty much are double that turn. Yeah, you're sacking them, but if you're going to win that turn, it kind of doesn't matter. Then, of course, our girl, Liliana of the Dark Realms. Now, this is probably my favorite Liliana with my least favorite Liliana art. I mean, I don't know. But if you can get there, that emblem is pretty sweet. And even if you can't, just a couple activations off of this to get a couple more swamps. You know what I'm saying? That's not bad. Some card draw, because we're not always going to have our engine of Villas online. You know, we have Damnable Pact, Read the Bones, Succumb to Temptation, Painful Lesson, Sign in Blood. Free spells in like Spinning Darkness, because it is quote-unquote free, but I mean, you're exiling the top 3 cards, 3 black cards of your library, that's fine, but it is kind of quasi-removal. 3 to a non-black creature, you gain 3 life off of it, it's a spell played, it's not really probably costing you anything mana-wise. And Soul Spike. Now, this one is 4 damage to creature or player. You gotta see, this one though is it asks a little more. 2 black cards from the hand. I have a stack of other cards that I didn't exactly know where to categorize them as. So we're just going to talk about some random stuff. Boots, because Keyric's got a huge target. I mean, as soon as anybody sees it, they know you're not going to do fair things with it, right? I mean, we all do. We have our girls talking about the Diabolic Tutor, Demonic Tutor. Now, that's removal. Blood Pet, just sacking it to get another black mana. Blood Celebrant here, though. If this is a card, yeah, of any color, so we're getting black. It's a life payment engine with Villas. That's pretty much what it is. Duress, for that. Gotta have the duress, because by the time that you get ready to do your storm turn, if that's how the deck presents itself to you that game, you're gonna know who at the table is most likely to counterspell you. So, hence the duress. Turmoil's Crypt. Let's see. We have Memnite and Ornithopter. They are 0 drops. They are just there for storm count things. Now, Pestilence. Pestilence is a really cool cost to play. It's it's 1 damage to everybody, and if you're paying it with Phyrexian Black, then essentially you're paying 3 life to deal 1 damage to every creature and every player, or every other player. So there are situations where you'd want it, situations where you wouldn't. Corrupt. With that Liliana, I mean, and what we've got, that could really, really be a thing. Exsanguinate is probably another really good win con. Probably it is. It's a great win con. We all know it. But that's, and even, I don't even think you have to exsanguinate for all the marbles, I mean, if you just need more life and you can't get there to, the 25 man or whatever it is that to kill everybody, to keep going. Vampire Hex Mage is our resident planeswalker killer or whatever. To be honest with you, I'm not exactly certain why I've got this in there. It might be that I had a Dark Depths in here at one point in time, but I don't know. Squelching Leeches and Nightmare, Real Nightmare with Melissa Benson art. We're playing mono black, why not? Now, the thing that we have forgotten about, well, not really forgotten, that we haven't really played up yet, is the fact that Keyric gets a +1/+1 counter. So, just by the playing of the deck, even if we don't storm off or anything, Keyric's gonna be a pretty hefty guy. So giving it Infect with either Phyresis or Tainted Strike for 1 turn. Tainted Strike is probably, I like a little better, simply because of the surprise factor. If you put a Phyresis out there, everybody knows what you're doing, and then it becomes archenemy, So let's look at some removal. We have got Murder. It took us forever, probably far too long, just to get a card that said destroy target creature. It took a long time from Magic's beginning. Got a Doomblade, a Tragic Slip, Defiled. Now, I'm almost out of Defiles for Modern Horizon because, any mono black deck is going to want it. Minuses get around indestructible creatures. It's just beautiful. I figured we're going to try Font of Agonies. Whenever you pay life, you put that many blood counters on it, and then you spend 2 mana and remove 4 blood counters to destroy target creature. So you don't have to sacrifice the enchantment. So every time you're paying life, like you do with Phyrexian Mana, then this thing just keeps getting counters. So that's where I'm thinking this is probably, I mean, this is my first time ever putting it in a deck, I think. Reusable creature removal. So we're going to try it. It seems like it's really good. Crux of Fate, because I don't have a damnation. Massacre Girl. I consider her removal because, let's face it, most of the time she's a board wipe. And then we have Nightmare Unmaking. Exile all the big things, exile all the small things. So then we've got our non-basic lands, Barren Moor and Polluted Mire being some cycling lands. Memorial to Folly, getting a creature back if we just got to have that one creature. Everglade doing the 2-mana thing. Witch's Cottage, there again, getting the creature back. Castle Lochthwain. Draw a card, then you lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. Now, this may be the only deck in the world with Villas, or decks with Villas. Maybe the only ones where you don't want to wait till you get to a 0 hand size before you use this. Because, wow. And I know it's been a few decks since I've talked about this card last. I mean, we just got it in Eldraine. But does that not look like a... oh, shoot. Is it Imperial Destroyer? Is that what I'm looking for? It looks like one of those giant Star Wars ships that had just landed on a planet or something. I don't know. And then lastly, of course, we have Rogue's Passage, because we want Carrick to get in there and get some damage done. So that's Carrick, and I'll be honest with you, it feels like I was a little unfocused, but I feel like there's just so much synergy in it that it'll probably just, work itself out with how you play the game. I don't know that it'll matter anyway because, it's Carrick. They're going to gun for us. But I had fun building it. That was I had that Mox Diamond. He was the last copy I had, and I was like, I was holding it for something special, And I saw Carrick, and I was like, well, that's it. That's it, because I really want to get this guy out quick. And, yeah, there are probably quicker ways to build it. Theme-wise, I probably should have had Yawgmoth in there, but I didn't have another copy of Yawgmoth. And, yeah, the Cabal rituals, more and more rituals would be ideal. But there are definite ways to upgrade the deck. And this is probably one that I'll keep coming back to every time that we get something, But that is 522, so let's walk over here and put it on the wall. I do appreciate y'all watching, and everybody, all the new subscribers, thank you very much. Everybody who just found the channel. I know that yesterday, day before, whenever, we kind of had a surge of growth, and I appreciate it. Thank you all very much. A big shout out to Josh and Jimmy over at the Command Zone, and Matt, Dane, and Joey at the EDH Recast. By the way, if you're not listening to EDH Recast, it's an amazing, amazing show. They are now on YouTube. They did their first video on YouTube, so it might be suggested over here. So check it out, and I appreciate it. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.